so I'll just introduce myself. My name is Javon Dhun. I am the Standards Officer for the Electrical Products Lab, better known as EPL. And this presentation today is to give you an idea of what we do, who we are, and what role we play in the testing of electrical cables, and how we can facilitate you in whatever need you may have. Alright, so just a brief overview on our agenda. The first part is Electrical Products Lab. We'll be discussing afterwards the electrical cable issue, the issue of substandard cables, some cable faults, our collective responsibility, comparison of cables, our scope of testing, the tests that we can perform, the testing that we conduct, the competence of the lab, the lab equipment that we use, and our proposed way forward. Alright, the Electrical Products Laboratory offers a testing on a variety of consumer products, such as the testing of lead acid starter batteries, the testing on various types of light bulbs, sound and light level measurement, fault analysis of electrical products, as well as the testing of electrical cables. The electrical cable issue is substandard cables pose a serious threat to the safety and the welfare to the persons who come into contact with them. Can cause major damage to the environment if they are installed in. Counterfeit and unapproved faulty cables, the end result are the same, a potential lethal danger for the general public and threat to the installers. The substandard cables. Substandard cables are cables that are not designed, manufactured, test approved to meet the requirements of a safety standard. The presence of substandard cables in the market is largely due to unscrupulous manufacturers who skimp on the quality and safety to produce cheaper cables. When we speak about unscrupulous manufacturers here, we're talking about in the international arena. Right? We know that whenever importers go through the process of trying to get the test reports and certificates from the persons that they get their cables from, but the only way you can really tell if your cable, the test reports are real for the cable that you brought down is to have it verified. And testing at a accredited facility can facilitate that process. Cable faults. So here we have three scenarios of what cable faults look like. The first one is in an industrial setting where cable fails. The second one with the guy in the blue shirt is in a test facility. The last one is in a simulated environment where we're showing a cable fault that takes place in a room. Okay, and you can see how hazardous it leaves orientation open, so what damage can be caused from this. Our collective responsibility. So contractors have a duty of care to ensure that they don't become part of the problem. This can be done by being aware of the requirements of the accepted compulsory standard. When purchasing cables, inquire if the cables meet that standard, and verifying cables by having them tested at an accredited facility. So comparison of substandard and safety assured cables. The substandard cables here is a general comparison. They are cables that are designed, not designed, tested, certified, or used in accordance with accepted standards. Substandard installation and protective layers. They have performance issue at their rated voltage or rated specifications, and no or certification or counterfeit certification. Safety assured cables are cables designed and made of genuine material, stringently tested and certified in safety and quality. They have a sufficient amount of insulation and high-grade protective layers. They have no performance issues at its rated voltage, and certifications of quality and safety both locally and or internationally. The EPL scope of testing. So in 2009, EPL started to develop its capability towards cable testing. And this is the approach we took and where we are now. In 2010, EPL obtained its accreditation for the testing of electrical cables from the United Kingdom Accreditation Service, UCAS. And in 2013, EPL is expanding its testing capabilities by improving infrastructure and the equipment that we're using. This is all towards the lab services mandate of testing, assuring, and advising. Alright, the tests performed on the cable, as Anita mentioned earlier on for the sanitation presentation, the visual inspection, the sheet and insulation thickness, the mean overall diameter and the ovality of circular cables, the conductor resistance, the electrical performance test, which consists of voltage test and insulation resistance. Testing, the conventional types of cable we test, we stuck to the common names: single core, the ECC cable, the Rhino cable, the armored cable, as well as all non-armored cable, generally cables up to 120 mm². Alright, other types of cable can be tested on special request. Competence. So as mentioned before, we are a UCAS accredited facility. We are the only one in Trinidad and Tobago. Alright, we also govern by the 1705 quality management system, which requires us to follow a strict maintenance and calibration schedule in order to maintain our accreditation. And in 2011, one of the members of EPL obtained the certification from the electrical cable standards and testing from the British Standards Institution, BSI. That technician is Mr. Dhun. He went across to BSI and got official training from them and is certified in the testing of electrical cables according to the BS standards. Alright, so just to give a brief overview of the equipment we use. Now, we have our tours afterwards. We'll get to see the equipment firsthand. Alright, here you can ask more questions, see technicians directly about how they function, what they do, and you'll get some demonstrations to see how they operate. So the first one is the KSM automatic measuring system for cables. This is what we use to test the sheeting material, the cross-section, and to determine the dimensions of it. Okay, we have the MEGA, the RLO200-115E. This is used for conductor resistance test, and the thermometer picometer. This is used for the insulation resistance test. Now, there's one part I left out, which is the cable testing room, and this is probably the most impressive part of the cable testing facility. And you can only appreciate the amount of resources and the amount of work that was put into developing our capabilities when you see it firsthand. So we would really like if you afterwards you can go and venture there and see what it looks like. Alright, so way forward. Now initially we started off and these were the issues we found. We realized that something needs to be done and the Bureau took a response. Our responses were along the lines of creating the standard for the cable quality, maximizing inspection of the ports, and obtaining an accredited lab facility. If we have our consumer awareness and responsibility on board, we can fine-tune things in favor towards increasing the quality of the product on the market. Alright, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention. We at the EPL look forward to working with you in the near future, hoping to facilitate whatever need that you may have towards verifying and testing your cables. Alright, thank you for your time. And I'll put you back to this brother.
Okay, thank you very much, Javon. I would just like to highlight a few points from Javon's presentation. He described the role of the Electrical Products Lab, or the EPL, in the testing of electrical cables. Now, as Mr. Omar iterated, we know that cables are very expensive, however, a very commonly used product. And you can only determine if the cables are actually what you want to be used, actually what you've ordered, or comply to the specifications that you need by verifying this via testing by a competent laboratory. The EPL lab, as Javon mentioned, has been accredited by UCAS. UCAS is the United Kingdom Accreditation Service, and accreditation is basically the international recognition of the competence of your technicians to perform the test. So it's an assessment that is conducted yearly, wherein experts from the United Kingdom come down to observe the testing conducted by the Electrical Products Lab to see if they are providing results that are accurate, precise, reliable, and to determine if we're following the requirements of a quality management system to ensure that our product being produced is the same at every point in time. The results of accredited labs are also usually very necessary when you have any sort of legal concerns, because accreditation, as I said, automatically means that your results will be accepted everywhere, internationally. All of our labs in the Bureau of Standards are accredited, and our results have actually been used in settlements of disputes between trading partners of Trinidad and countries such as Ireland and the United States and Europe. Our results on TTBS labs, so you can understand the benefit of having accredited test results. All right, so thank you very much, Javon, for your presentation. We will now like to open the floor for any questions and answer any questions that you may have. I will ask Mr. Dhun to come to the podium. Mr. Singh is the most senior technician in the Laboratory Services Division, and he is the person who has been spearheading or driving the Bureau's march towards electrical cable testing. After the question and answer session, we would like to invite you to accompany us on a short tour of the facilities we have in the Bureau for testing of electrical cables. We would have loved to let you see all of our labs, our engineering labs, as well as packaging and textile and analytical chemistry labs. But unfortunately, we can't do so. So we will just restrict the tour to the main electrical lab, which does testing other than cables, as well as the cable testing facility that we have. Okay, so now we have the question and answer session. Are there any questions for anyone?